Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Out. Today, I have an amazing guest with me. We are friends all the way from St. Lucia. We have been friends since I was 12 years old. I think that's when I came in Form 1, since Babsec days.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
12,
Yeah.
12 years old. And we went to secondary school together. We were in choir together. We were part of Fab Five together. And tell them about yourself. Tell them how we met. Tell them your name. Give them an intro about you.
All right, guys. I'm Trisha. I go by Trisha Martelli, but my government name is Ferry Swaswa. Um, I should I tell them my age? I don't know.
If
I
you don't
am,
want to, you don't have to.
I'm old enough. I I am from St. Lucia, as Casey said earlier on, and the way Casey and I met, we went to school like into we I think we were in the same class for a couple of years, like from Form 1 to I think Form
Form
3
three.
before you left in Form 3, you came to the
Yeah.
US when you were in Form 3. And we were like a group of girls always hanging out together, and we called ourselves Fab Five. So that's where the name came from. And then we did a lot of the extracurricular activities from the school together. Like we were all in the same choir. We started playing we tried to learn to play basketball one time.
That was a fail.
That was a fail. It never worked because we're too bougie and too silly for that.
Honestly.
um, what was that? So then, not long after, Casey left to go to the US, and she Well, what happened after Form 3? So you went to the U.S.
Yeah.
and then you kept coming home every chance you got, like on
Yeah.
vacation or something, and then would always meet up during that time,
Mhm.
and we would always come to your house, and then would arrange to go to the movies
Mhm.
and stuff like that for a couple of years, and then not long after, all our friends started having kids, so we couldn't do stuff the way we used to, and
Yeah.
we started growing up, so we fell back a little
Yep. Yep.
in doing those things. But it's been years, Casey. I haven't seen you though.
It has been
The
years.
last time was when I was in Miami
Yes.
at Coconut Creek. That was it.
Yes. Yes. That was. And then we went to that restaurant and then caught up, and then we haven't seen each other since then.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't seen each other then, but
But
we're still in each other's hearts from the distance.
always, always, I will never ever forget y'all. Always gonna love y'all.
I feel the
And
same.
yeah, y'all are home for me. Like every time I think of home and the memories of home in St. Lucia, you all are a major part of it. So
Aw. I feel the same. I feel the same. We always think we all every time I'm with Elmina,
mhm.
you guys don't know who Elmina is. She's my best friend.
Mhm.
And she we always talk like we always go in that tree mindset, and we start going and reminiscing of our school days, and we start talking about when we had our girlfriends and what we did. And so we always talking about y'all. It's something that's part of our conversations constantly.
That's awesome. Yes, Elmina was also part of Fab Five. We had
Mhm.
me, we had Fairies or Trisha, then we had Elmina, we had Colin, and we had Tina. And now three of them are all mothers now, and it's just
Yeah.
Trish and I left to be mothers. I think she's gonna go before me.
I doubt it. I doubt it, but we will see.
I think so. I don't know, but I think so.
We'll see.
We
We'll
shall
make
see.
it. We'll come back to update the public in a few years.
Yes, yes,
Who
yes.
had a kid first?
Yes. Okay, so tell them about your current profession and how you got into your current profession, and yeah, let them know about that.
Um, so I am a singer, um, and I worked aboard the cruise ships for 3 years.
Mhm.
And the way I always knew I wanted to sing, first of all. And a lot of the time, people ask me, um, what inspired my singing, and then I always have to give this very interesting story. And
You want to
the
hear
way
it?
the way it happened is when I was a little girl, around 8 or 9, between 8 and 10 years old, I would
Mhm.
spend a lot of time at my grandmother's house. And on the vacation, the summer vacation, the school break, we would have we would always have all our cousins and our aunts at our grandmother's house. So all our cousins being there as kids, we always used to play games. And one of the games that we played um, would play, we call it St. Lucia's Top Model. No, St. Lucia's Idol, sorry. St.
Mhm.
Lucia's St. Lucia's Idol, like kind of like American Idol.
Mhm.
But so then we would always be playing this game, and for some reason, I would always lose the game. Like always, I was the worst singer in all the
St. Lucia.
participants, right? And it would have been my cousin who I'm at right now, who would be hosting it, and then you would have our competitions, but every time I would lose, and I hated that. So when I was not playing the game and I would just be in the house or in the shower, I would just be singing and singing, trying to make my voice sound as nice as I possibly can. And then, it just stuck with me. Every day I would just be singing and singing, trying to sound good, trying to hear something and not be recording myself, trying to listen over and over. And it just
Mhm.
stuck with me. Like, I just never stopped. Even when I started getting older and we no longer playing those games,
Mhm.
I just kept
Singing.
trying to sound good because I felt like the more I did it, eventually I started sounding better. Because
Mhm.
in school, my my friends would tell me, oh, they would always call me up to come and sing something. So like I knew that I was sounding good eventually. So 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 that is how I started. And then professionally, I joined my first band, not band, but the first gig I had was with another musician who was a piano player,
Mhm.
and he would be at the he played somewhere in the marina in St. Lucia, and he invited me to come sing with him. I met him one day on the street, like I was stranded somewhere, and I needed to make a call, and I asked him to can I lend his phone, and then for some reason ended up he was a musician, right?
Mhm.
And we started talking. I was like, hey, I'm an aspiring singer, blah blah blah. And then he invited me to come sing at wherever he's playing. And then we started working for a couple of months together. And then that was my first professional job as a singer, singing at the marina in Rodney Bay. And
Awesome.
then not so long after, I joined another band, which was a five-piece band. It's
Mhm.
called the Impact Band. I
Mhm.
stayed with them for 3 years. And then that was that. And then I met another guy who happened to be my boyfriend eventually, and he was planning to make his own band.
Mhm.
He needed a singer, and he contacted me on Facebook, and then we started talking and blah blah blah, and then we auditioned, and he was just trying to get all his members together and confirm all the members of his band to get it going so that we could go on the cruise ship.
Mhm.
The first year of doing that, he did not get all his members, but we ended up in a relationship.
Mhm.
And then the following year of being in a relationship, he tried again to put his band together, and then it worked. And then we got our first gig going on Carnival Cruise Line as a four-piece band, and we did that ever since being on the cruise ship for. From that time, I've spent 3 years just singing on the cruise ship ever since. I just took a break recently, but um, now I perform at the casinos here in Washington,
Okay.
and we do the casino gigs, we do the um, corporate events, private events, weddings, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with a band called Groove Nation, amazing band. So that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. What was the cruise ship experience like? And do you have any like crazy guest stories or even band stories about the cruise ship experience?
Um, what was the cruise ship like? It was, it had its pros and cons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say it was fun on the most part because as a musician on the ship, you don't work as hard as the rest of the workers. We work maximum 4 hours a day, and we just entertain and we do our thing. And our job is not really a job if we love it, right?
Right.
So that was fun. That was the fun part, getting to go to all different um, countries and continents all over the world for free and
Mm-hmm.
getting paid to do that. Meeting so many beautiful people, amazing people, loving people who turns out to be your family because you're spending so many months with them at a time. Um, you don't pay for food on the ship. You don't pay for a place to stay. You don't pay for a lot of stuff, but you get to save. It's a good place to save your money. Go and make good money and you can save your money. So it's a good avenue for that. And then, um, so that's the good parts of being on the ship. But a lot of people have a lot of challenges with being on the ship also because of all the rules. It's a very military environment. There's so many rules you need to abide by. It's nothing like being on land. It's nothing like being working at a resort
Mm-hmm.
on land, or anywhere. It's very, very military. They take safety very seriously. So every week you have to do those drills. You have to, not that it's a bad thing, but like when you want to just sleep as a musician, when you just want to be sleeping and
They're waking you up like.
from drinking from the night before. You just want to, sleep all day the following day, but you have to wake up like what? Really early in the morning to start preparing yourself to do the drills. And then you have to do 2 drills a week. You have to do the crew drill and the passenger drill. You have to do um, cabin inspection. You have to there's certain ways you have to always have your name tag on. You can't have shoes that are open toe. You have a curfew for the crew bar, 2
Mm-hmm.
a.m. every day. You have to be in your cabin by 2 a.m. You They give you constant breathalyzing tests and drug tests. There's so much that takes a toll on your
Mental.
mental state.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, it was a good experience for me. It's a lot you learn throughout the years of doing it. But I guess we'll get to that.
Yes, yes, yes. So, yes, you just told us what inspired you to want to be a singer. What are some childhood dreams that you have, growing up in St. Lucia that you still wish to accomplish as an adult? Some things that you're still pursuing and striving towards right now?
Okay, so when I was a little girl, I always thought I was a boss. I always wanted to um, have my own. Ever always been independent. Always been like a go-getter. So like my thing is, I really want to open my own business. It's something I
Mhm.
always been practicing as a little girl. I would pretend I have my pick all the leaves on the tree and um, uh, and like I am trying to sell something, like pretending I'm selling and I have my shop and my store and like that type
Mhm.
of thing. And so I would say that's one of the things I'm looking towards. I still want to own my own business one day.
That's awesome. You
Mhm.
definitely got it in you. All of that five, we were go-getters. We were boss chicks
Yeah,
in the making.
yeah, girl, always from times.
Yes. What type of business do you want to start?
I want to I want to go into the business of making a baby store, like everything for infants
Mhm.
and kids, like from the apparel to the formula to everything you could think of for babies that people want to get.
Mhm.
That's my idea.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
wish you best of luck, best of wishes on that journey. You
Thank
got
you.
this. And
Yeah, girl.
yes,
Thank you.
of course. So, what has travel taught you about yourself? What has travel taught you about the world and just people in general? You know, you've been to a lot of places on the cruise ship for 3 years, traveling and meeting all different types of people. What has that form of exposure to the world opened your mind to?
Well, when I started traveling, the first thing I noticed was being on an island, you really don't know anything. You don't like you just feel like your mind opened up to a whole different universe
Hmm.
that you never knew about. And one of the first things that really sad but true, but one of the first things that I noticed being on getting to travel and being around all different nationalities, race. Race
Hmm.
was a very
Hmm.
talked about thing, and you had to deal with a lot of racism, and that was one of the first things that I never experienced before being on the island, because we're dominantly black people, like a
Exactly.
dominantly black based country. And like, so it was something I never experienced. And like being in that new space where people have different attitudes towards you in
Hmm.
terms of that, that was different for me. On the good side, I get to learn a lot of different cultures,
Hmm.
beautiful cultures. Like for an example, my one of my favorite cultures is the Spanish culture.
Hmm.
I love how they like. I love their music. I love the language. I love um, just everything. The colors, how everything is just color. Because I'm a very colorful person.
Yeah.
Um, I've always loved the Spanish culture. That was one of the first things I noticed. I want to learn and speak the language eventually. I like them. Did I say I like their music?
Yep.
What-
It's nice say it twice.
like me being a musician, like it's one of the things that really stay with me. So like I always have some bachata playing when I'm getting ready for work. When I was on the cruise ship, I have it playing, getting pumped up for my set, and ready
Hmm.
to party.
Hmm.
But it's one of the things that I would say I never knew, or I never paid attention to until I started traveling and exploring and learning different cultures or different backgrounds, different ethnicities and all of that, you know?
Hmm.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome. So, living here in America, especially during this whole pandemic of, COVID-19, and in the midst of that, all the police brutality and the deaths happening in America, how has that experience been for you?
It's been very overwhelming. It's so sad. I feel especially when it was really when it just happened with the George Floyd guy.
Mhm.
My heart was heavy. It was almost like scary too because I'm like, okay, so they're just killing people like that, like just so bold, like, and nothing happens for that. I
Mhm.
started feeling scared for my own life because I was like, and even when everything started happening, the riots, and I'm like, I just keep thinking, what if they try to hurt me when I'm walking down the road just because I'm black? What if they're mad at black people for the riots? And like,
Mhm.
I just kept thinking a whole bunch of things. Like it was scary. It was even more scarier than getting out of the house because I don't want to catch corona. It was just, it was just terrible. It was heavy on my heart. It made me sad. It made me angry. I remember watching the video of how George Floyd died and I couldn't help the tears. Like it just came out. And I cannot believe how somebody could be so inhumane to just kill him. He just stood on his neck like he was an animal. And you
I
could believe how many people who thinks just like him, same people of his with his same color and
Mhm.
thinking like that.
Mhm.
It's
I will
crazy.
never understand. I will never understand. And it's especially crazy like you spoke to earlier, just growing up in the Caribbean and not having to deal with those things.
Right. I never knew of, like, I always heard the word racism going around, but I never understood it until I left St. Lucia.
Mhm.
It didn't exist in St. Lucia. So, like,
Exactly.
you know, being starting this whole new journey and then having to see certain ways, certain, people getting more advantages just because of their color and people treating you differently just because you're a certain color. It's like,
Mhm.
no, it just makes you angry. That's all. It makes me angry for sure.
That's definitely.
That's what it is.
Mhm. That is so very true. But what is your greatest piece of advice to dreamers? Because I always, growing up in St. Lucia with you and going to secondary school with you from one to form three, I feel like you've always had aspirations of wanting to be a singer, and that's been the
Hmm.
path that you have pursued. And so, what would you say to those people who have dreams? Growing up in a small island, you didn't let that limit your mindset to what you thought you could be, to where you thought you can go. And so, what would you say and what advice would you give to those who have those dreams and aspirations?
Okay, so I would say no matter what you want to do in life, no matter what, it could be something as simple as somebody who cuts the grass. If you think that's what you're good at, master that craft to the best of your ability, and then you would not have worked a day in your life. You would
Mhm.
master that and market that and sell that. And if you believe that you're the best at that, people will believe you too, because
Mhm.
that is the energy and that is what you've produced and and you're showing people that you've mastered and you know everything about what you're doing, and they would you could get people to believe the same. And just stay consistent, and before you're able to just show somebody, hey, I'm good at that, you need to be consistently doing whatever it takes to get at that level where you could um, show somebody, hey, buy this from me, or hey, I could do this, pay me for this. Like, get
Mhm.
to actually start making money off of what you love. You
Mhm.
master it and believe that you're the best at it too, you know.
That
So
is good advice.
that is what I think.
That is great. That's great. What is your relationship with fear? What have been some moments in your life that have caused you great fear, and what did you do to even overcome that fear when faced with those moments?
um Fear, I would say one of my biggest fears, like in when I just always not being good enough,
Mm,
like be doing something and somebody being judged also. Like I am I started off when I started, especially when I started with my career and singing and all of that, I always felt like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not entertaining enough? What if I don't sound good enough? That was one of my biggest fears. The way I overcame it is um, just learning to build confidence.
Mhm.
And the way I build confidence is it starts something as simple as the way you stand, the way your posture, the way you talk,
Mhm.
the way you move, the words that come out of your mouth. If you could show somebody that you're confident and that the people will believe you, the way
Mhm.
you show yourself, people accept it.
Yep.
If you show yourself as a coward and you're in your shell, people will just believe you're a shy person. But the
Mhm.
minute you start putting yourself out there like, hey, and commanding, and people will go with it because they'll say, hey, you're so confident, and people admire confidence.
Mhm.
So it has been one of my fears when I just started off um, as a performer, and even in life, like I used to be scared to speak up. I used to be scared to give an opinion about things. What if my opinion doesn't make sense? What if it sounds dumb? Like, just in life, I've been fearful to like just be bold and confident. But I've overcame that a long time ago. I will say that to add, but it took a lot of I looked at a lot of videos on YouTube of how to like build your confidence and just become more interesting as an individual, more interesting to people. So that's been something that for me personally that I've overcome.
That's awesome. And so you are a Black woman, you are a Caribbean woman, you are just a woman in general, and there is so much beauty in that. What has been your greatest joy about being a woman, and what would you say is your greatest hassle about being a woman? And speak about that just in terms of being in the Caribbean and being here in America, the difference in being a woman in the two places.
Oh wow, that is I like that question because it's very different. Like being a woman in St. Lucia and the
Mm,
US, it's so different
right?
because because in St. Lucia, you know, you're constantly expect your expectations are like back in the day. You're expected to be the one to cook, to clean,
Mm-hmm.
wash, take care of the kids, and do all the like
And work.
hand work, like be a superwoman.
Exactly.
You're supposed to work and take care of the house. Even though the guy came home or the husband came home before you're
Mm-hmm.
still expected to be the one to come home and cook and take care of everything. But it's so different in the US. In the US, everybody's work, and although they might still have people who think like that here in the US, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's as much as the Caribbean, where you find a lot of women who is at work and the man is at home
Mm-hmm.
holding it down, and a lot of not in here you just it's just expected. The women should be working. The women should be um, career and goal oriented. They should be doing things, be busy. They're expected to be driving
Mm-hmm.
and like everything that the men used to be doing and what you would not expect much of the woman in St. Lucia is the
Mm-hmm.
complete opposite in the US. So that's what I noticed. But my thing about being a woman, I just like the fact that I'm a woman and then I can just do anything as a man, like that a man would do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's one thing that a man could never do that a woman could do, but women could do anything a man can do.
Come
So,
on.
so, and in case people don't know, a man can't make a child.
Exactly. I was with you.
So the fact that I just feel like, you know, I feel like it feels great to be a woman. Like to me, that's
A beautiful thing. It's a
that's a
gift.
beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yep,
You know?
definitely agree.
Yeah.
But how has your Caribbean upbringing impacted your worldviews? I think you touched on this a little bit, but how has it impacted your aspirations for your life? Like, do you think a lot of the goals and things that you aspire to stem from the fact that you grew up in the Caribbean?
Um, I would say, let's see. There's a lot of things I will say that I'm thankful that I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I learned it is because I was born in the Caribbean. And there's certain things I'm just happy for that, that I get to learn certain things and certain um, morals
Mm-hmm.
out of being brought up in the Caribbean. That if I was maybe somewhere else in the world, maybe the US, Europe, whatever, maybe it would not be that strong, you know? One
Mm-hmm.
of them is knowing how to cook.
You got to.
A lot of people, a lot of women especially, being in another part of the world, don't know how to cook. And I find that's crazy.
Mm,
So that was one of the things that I'm thankful for, that being part of, when you're raised in the Caribbean, you learn to be very domestic. You learn to like know how to do everything. Even the guys, they
mm,
need to learn how to do stuff. Well, they probably don't learn women stuff, but they still need to learn how to change a tire or
right.
cut the grass, take the trash out. Like you learn to do things for our life, that
Mm-hmm.
when you
Yeah,
grow up, you don't want to be spending money to get that done. You could do it yourself.
exactly.
That type of thing. So I would say that's what it is.
Yeah, like even in Babsec, the way that they had classes for home economics or like sewing classes and all of these classes where the women had to learn how to sew and do different type of stitches and how to
Right.
cook certain things. I mean, there's still some of that up here, but it's not emphasized, and so you're definitely right.
Yeah. It was, which I think everybody should know how to sew something. Like I'm not the only one. I'm not women. It's not only women who wear clothes. Like
Exactly.
guys wear clothes, so he needs to learn to sew his back. you know. So
Honestly,
that
I
type of thing.
agree. I agree. This is a bit off topic, but what would you have to say to the political environment here in America, like now that you're here for a little bit?
I don't know much about that. I would not say. I don't think I could say much concerning that because I'm still don't really understand the whole
Mm-hmm.
politics that goes on here. Like it's just so different from what I know. I've only been here for like 7 months,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not something that I could say. But I would say it's just different. All I know is it's different. People have a whole different mentality of how they see things
Mm-hmm.
and how they just the way they analyze, the way that's all I know. That's what I've noticed. People have a different way of seeing things, and yeah, that's the most I could
No,
say.
that's yeah, I agree. It is very different from what we know back in the Caribbean. What would you
Yeah.
say to the riots? Like, how do you feel about them? Do you understand? I know you as well felt a sense of anger in watching the video, but how do you feel about the reaction of Blacks in America and even white allies and other allies who came to support in peaceful protests and also rioting?
Okay, in terms of the riots, I first of all, I just want to say that I do not promote violence at all.
Mm,
But if we're keeping it real, for every action, there is a reaction.
mm-hmm.
That's just how I see it. So people are like, why why do they have to burn down so many buildings and whatever? I am not condoning them doing that, but if you keep punching me in my gut, you expect me to just stay there and not do anything? I would want to do something to make you stop completely, where you're not able to use that arm anymore to punch me in my gut, because I don't want to be punched anymore. So
Mhm.
that is my thing. So like I'm like, if for every action there is a reaction. Everybody keeps, if you we just had somebody die from a police killing him on purpose. And this is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is not the third time. This is not the fourth. This is not the 10th time. It's, it has been happening for a long time.
Mhm.
And nobody has been crying about why they be killing so many black people. Why they keep doing that? But why are you crying over them killing, messing up a building, but you're not crying about them hurting a black life that you can never get back?
Oh man, talk about
Speak up for that
it.
first before you could talk about some material thing that I'm sure they have insurance and they could get it back in no time, you know.
Mhm.
So the life, you'll never get it back, and we there needs to be change. And if that's the only way that could be heard, where people could be heard, I guess you have to do what you have to do. That's the way I see it,
No, I agree.
you know.
Definitely agree. Like in the sense that I don't necessarily agree with violence. I don't agree with certain methods, but I definitely understand the anger and I understand the pain and the passion. And so
Right.
that plays out in different ways for different people. And some people are out there using their anger to peacefully protest. Some people are out there in institutions where they have a forms of power to, ensure that Black people come up. And some people are just straight up mad and they want to, because it's generational and generational, and that hurt and anger builds up. And so if you keep doing this to people, that's legitimately the reaction that
Yeah.
you're gonna get.
It's not okay. Something needs to happen. There needs to be a change. The whole justice system needs to be revamped.
Mm-hmm.
Everything needs to be rearranged in
Mm-hmm.
order for change to start, you know? In terms of the allies and people who are like with the movement of Black Lives Matter, like I applaud you, those who are speaking up, especially white people,
Mm-hmm.
those who are speaking up, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a part of the change and you're amazing for that. And those who are silent, that just says a lot about you. That's all I could say.
Honestly, honestly, that's just that on that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for answering these questions honestly and giving your opinion. Um, I want to ask you, what is the greatest lesson your mom has taught you as a young woman in life? What?
I would say one of the things that my mom taught me that I think that has stayed with me for a long time is to be independent.
Mm,
One of the, she's always she raised me in a way where I need to be independent. You know how kids are they always they expect mommy to be there to always do this. I would fall down and my mother would be like, get up. You expect mom to run and pick you up, right? She'd be
mm-hmm,
like, get up, get up, you could do it. So as something as simple as falling down, I need to pick myself up by myself and get over it by myself.
mm-hmm,
But, I have no choice. And then, just she taught me to be very um
oh,
responsible with my finances, because
mm-hmm,
she have not been like that. Like she's always had issues financially. So like I learned at a very young age to be very careful with the way I spend money and to always save and always, be mindful of the way I've I mean, I like nice things, but I've always been very careful of the way I spend because I don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Mhm.
That's one of the things I think I learned, and I'm really happy I learned at a young age. You know?
Yes. Yes. I love the fact that you mentioned that you also learned from the mistakes and not just the things that they've told you to do or the things
Right.
that you've observed, but the things that they didn't necessarily do right in parenting.
Right. Right.
Yeah. When
That's
you, I know you have aspirations to become a parent as well.
yeah.
What do you want to say about like just transparency with kids? Like, how important do you think it is in regards to like just telling your kids the mistakes that you've made in the past so that they either don't make it and they just know what to expect in life? Like, what is.
I think it's very important to like be honest with your kids.
Mhm.
Like some people like to hide, especially one of the major topics that parents don't like to talk about with the kids is sex. And I
Mhm.
think it's one of the most important things with everything going around now.
Mhm.
Tell them, hey, you could die from this. Put on a condom when
Mhm.
they're at a certain age to do that. Like, or they probably don't have the age to do it, but they're gonna do it anyway. So like talk to them, tell them, okay, so there's these things going on right now. This is what you could get if you don't put it on, and you could get sick, and this is what's gonna happen to your penis or your vagina if that happens. So be as honest as you can
Mhm.
so that they could get the picture and that they don't want it to happen to them. So I think that's what is very important to be honest, no matter what, no matter how ugly it may sound. I mean, children are not stupid, they will figure it out anyway, but you don't want them to figure it out in the worst way. And that's
Exactly.
what I think about that.
Agreed. Agreed. Let's talk about music. What are your goals? What are your aspirations regarding music? Where do you see yourself in the future regarding music?
Okay, in terms of music, um, I don't really have a lot of goals surrounding that, but because my main goal is to like have my own business, which is completely different from music.
Mhm.
But I feel like I at a certain age I need to switch it up a little bit so that I could be more settled and where I could be able to start a family and get married and that type of thing. And I think music, being a musician, it's hard to do that. I cannot. It's hard to do that because it's a lot of commitment to the music. It's a lot to
Mhm.
be your best and to make real good money. You need to like really be in it. It's a full-time job. People think like it's just get on stage, but you constantly need to be learning songs. You constantly need to be working on your craft. You constantly need to change things up, be up at night, late nights, and all of that. But one day I want to start my own family and I want to constantly traveling.
Mhm.
So I want to be able to just be settled where I could be in one station place. I have my business, making my money. I go home to my husband and take care of the house, take care of my children, do it all over again.
Mhm.
Like and have something that I really love to do. I could still be a musician. I could still go out and do my gigs every now and then when needed, but
Mhm.
I think I feel I want something more
Stable.
stable, something
Mhm.
more like that I don't have to give too much of my I wouldn't say too much of my energy, but because having a business you have a lot to put into it also, but it would be something that I could do with my family at the
Mhm.
end of the day a
Mhm.
lot more. So that's what I would say. Um but I do want to one of my music goals is that I do want to achieve going to back to school so that I could earn a degree in just as a backup plan
Mhm.
if my business don't work out. I want to get my degree in music and I want to be able to teach
Mm.
vocal lessons and make money off of that. So I want to be able to go to school to learn music theory and become a teacher teaching vocal lessons. a vocal
Hmm,
teacher.
that's
So
awesome.
that's one of my background, my back
Mm-hmm.
burner plans. But um, I feel like also that just saying that I'm still conflicted because I feel like there shouldn't be a plan B.
Mm. I agree. Oh, I think.
B, you're not gonna give your whole to plan A because you feel like you always have that other option. Just give your everything to plan A so that it happens no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I feel like because I really it's one my number one thing. Like I feel it in every ounce of me that is gonna happen. So I think it's still something that I'm battling with. Like I haven't made a decision as to if I'm gonna do it or not, but I'm just saying for saying sake that it's something I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. I don't know. I feel like yes, go for that thing that go full force, everything after that. But as I get older, and I don't know if that's probably just something that happens with age, which is why I think a lot of people should just start pursuing their dreams when they're so very young. Like as long as you know what you want, go after
Hmm.
it. But you know, sometimes a backup plan, a little back burner plan, a plan B is not the worst idea in the world.
Yes.
Some things just don't work out the way we plan it.
Right. Right.
But I wish you the best with that. I could see you doing definitely both, being a business owner or being a vocal coach and, you know, just educating minds musically. So, all
Thank
the
you,
best.
hon. Thank you for that.
No problem. What are some of your greatest musical inspirations?
um, I will tell you Tina Turner.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of my biggest influences growing up. Um, just the way, just her sexiness, her fierceness on stage, the way she, just her everything, like everything about her is what I aspire to be. I
Mm-hmm.
would put it that way. Like, being able to just command the crowd and dance and move and sing and just be able to touch people with music. I would say that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
you
That's
know?
awesome.
So I would say Tina Turner, and there's a few Tina Turner, Donna, and it's crazy that I'm saying like these
The
older
old
people
school,
because
yeah.
because this is when music was music, and like people like Whitney Houston and Donna Summer and um 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 I feel like I'm missing somebody. Shaka Khan.
Mm-hmm.
I just love those women. Just looking at them perform, the soul and feeling they put into their music. That's what I really aspire to be. When you listen to their music, if you don't know these people, then you just go look them up. Look at their live performances on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
you get what I mean.
No, I
You know?
definitely feel you. I understand
Yeah.
that. And so we have a little segment here. We usually do it at the beginning of the podcast, but it slipped my mind. But playlist fire, hashtag playlist fire, or hashtag put it on your playlist. What are
Hmm.
some recommendations that you would just think people should definitely have on your playlist? If you don't have it, you sleep. If you don't have it, where you've been under a rock like Patrick. What is that song or those songs?
um, the first one for me is there's a song by Rihanna. It's called "Love on the Brain." I
Mm-hmm.
just really love. I'm not lying to you. Like every time you need to just, if you haven't heard Love on the Brain, I advise you to go on YouTube, type in Love on the Brain live performance by
Mm,
Rihanna, and just look at how she sing this song. Every time she sing this song, I cry, literally.
is
When I
that the one
listen
where
to
she was in green? And
she sang it several times. She had the green jumpsuit thingy,
yes,
and
I
then
know that one.
there's this time she had so many different things. I think some white blouse thing, and she sings it with so much emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and you just feel it. And like every time I look at her sing that song, I literally, it just brings me to tears every single time. I cannot help it. No matter how many times I go look at that video. But it's one of the songs, Love on the Brain by Rihanna. It's her best
Mhm.
song. The best song she ever made,
I
hands
love
down.
that song too. We are in agreement.
And then there is Vents by, what is his name again? What did I tell you again?
uh, oof, I think I have it on my
Ted,
Google.
Teddy St. John.
Yes,
Teddy St. John. It's
Vent.
called Vent, VENT by Teddy St. John. He's a St. Lucian artist. I love this song so much. It's just something you could jam to and like,
Hey.
in front of your face, and, you know, that type of thing. But it's a good song. So if you don't have these two songs on your playlist, then what are you doing? Something is wrong with you.
So right now I don't have Vent on my playlist, so I'm definitely gonna add that. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I've been a little sleep on my St. Lucian artists, and as a St. Lucian, I should be disappointed in myself.
Yeah,
But
girl.
yeah, so thank you for putting me on. Vent by Teddyson John. I'm
Yes,
I'm gonna add that one in.
I love that song.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much, so much, so much for chatting it out with me, talking about dreams, talking about aspirations and transitions and just life and catching up. I really do appreciate you coming on here, and I wish you all the best with your future endeavors and plans and your business ventures and your backup plans and all it is that you want to do in life. I just pray that God keeps you and blesses you and allows you to gain all the things that He has in store for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I'm so happy to be here, and I hope whatever I say today could inspire somebody else to follow their dreams, into doing something that they love, you know.
Oh, I'm definitely sure it will. That's legit the reason I thought of you. I was just like, when I thought about dreams and pursuing them, I
Yeah.
thought that you were one of the person who I knew always talked about wanting to do this certain thing, and you definitely went ahead and pursued it, and that is just
Yeah.
so very beautiful. And
Thank you.
yes, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for
All
chatting
right.
with me
You too.
on Let's Talk It Out.
All right. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.